Welcome to Frenchified with the French Dude. Unlocking fluency with Coach Sam. Like, share, and subscribe for more educational content like this. Now that we've mastered the up and down of oral vowels, where the air stays strictly in the mouth, it's time to add a little spice. To get that authentic French sound, we need to unlock a new pathway. Instead of keeping all the air in your mouth, we are going to let some of it out through your nose. Welcome to the world of nasal vowel. In French, the letter N and M are often ghost letters. They aren't fully pronounced as consonants. Instead, they act as a signal to turn the preceding vowel into a nasal sound. And we have un, on, on, un. Un is usually written as IN or IM, and you can find it in words like vin, which means wine. We also have timbre, which means stamp. So YN or YM also produce un, and you can find it in words like syndicat, which means union. Also, we also have sympathie, which means sympathy. Also, anywhere you see EIN or EIM, you pronounce it as un, and you can find it in plan, which means full. We also have AIN or AIM, and we pronounce it as un. This is where you get to say ma, which means and, or we have faim, which means hungry. For example, on the j'ai faim, I am hungry. And then when you see IEN or YEN or E accent aigu, that's the acute accent with the EN, we pronounce it as un. So for instance, this is where your bien, je vais bien, ça va bien. This is where it comes from. So we have mien, moyen, and we have européen. So when we say mien, that's mine. When you say moyen, that is a means. And when you say européen, it's European. All right, so we have some particular cases where even the writing is not the word, we pronounce it as un. And you can find this with en, some en, also some un. And then we have word like examen, on the examen. So it is not examen. If you say examen is wrong. We say examen. So you can see the IPA written beside it. It's written examen. All right. So we have a similar case also with lundi, on the lundi, on the. So the next sound is on. On is usually written as follow. Anyway, you see en or em, you pronounce it as on, and you can see it in word like vent, which means wind. And we have another example, membre, which means a member. Or you can also find it in embouteillage. We say embouteillage. So you can see the IPA written beside it. And we have tempête, So when we say embouteillage, you can use it for go slow or traffic jam. So we also have AN or AM. Anyway, you see AN or AM, you pronounce it as on. So for instance, you can see it in word like son. That's, you can say without or except. Now we have it also in chambre, which means room. Chambre. Then you can see it in don. An example, we can say je suis dans la classe. I'm in the class. Then similar cases also, anyway, you see IEN ending with T, we pronounce it as on. So you can find it in some nouns, and again, you can find it in some adjective. For instance, we have client, which means client, or we have passion. So the next sound is the sound. So we say Now for us to get this is the sound we use in bonjour, and is usually written as on. And when you see on, you pronounce it as on. For instance, you can see it in mon, which means my. And you can see it in no, no, which means name. Or you can see it by some repetitive word like bon, 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 which means sweet. Then you can see it in om. When you see om, we pronounce it as on. And you can find it in ombre, which means sharp. And lastly, the an sound. This sound is kind of similar to the first one. That's where you find the in. For instance, where we say like interview or unperceived. So this is the sound are similar, and some people said in modern French this sound is often pronounced just like un. So it's almost the same thing. So you can say un, and un is usually written as un. Now anywhere you see un, you pronounce it as un, and that's where we get un. When you reciting your 1, 2, 3, we say un, deux, trois. Je suis un garçon. I'm a boy. Un. So you see this, the un is not on the un garçon. Also, you can find it in brun, brun, which means brown. So anywhere you see also, you pronounce it as un, and you can find it in parfum, parfum, which means scent. All right, so guys, this is where we're going to be ending this edition. If this breakdown made French pronunciation click for you today, make sure to hit the like button, drop a comment with the sound you find the trickiest, and subscribe to Frenchified to keep mastering your French. One simple rule at a time. Merci beaucoup, everyone. And as always, merci et à la prochaine.